The ghost has a name, GLM 5.3 Flash. This is AI security dispatch. Let me put this in plain language. Z.ai, the Chinese lab behind the GLM family, had a new model ready, but instead of launching it with a press conference, they gave it a fake name, Ox Alpha, listed it anonymously, and made it completely free for a week. People hammered on it so hard it became the single most used model on 2 major coding platforms. Only afterward did the lab step forward and say, "That was ours. Here is the real version, called GLM 5.3 Flash. It has 320 billion parameters, but only 18 billion of them wake up for any given word. Most of the network stays asleep, which is why serving it costs pennies." And today, alongside the official release, the weights went public under an MIT license. You can download it, run it yourself, or just use it through your coding subscription at triple the usual allowance. Every confession needs a signature, and this one came from inside the house. A researcher at Z.ai wrote, and I quote, "Ox Alpha was an early version of GLM 5.3 Flash, and the official release delivers stronger performance and significantly better stability." Listen to what that sentence quietly admits. The model everyone spent a week testing was not even finished. The final product is better than the ghost that beat half the industry's paid models. That is either terrifying or inspiring, depending on which invoices you pay. And here is my favorite part of the whole affair. One viewer summed it up perfectly. This was one of the best social experiments ever, because everybody went into detective mode instead of actually using the model. The platform itself encouraged it. 42 trillion tokens of Ox Alpha processed in 6 days, they wrote, then added, "Leave your guesses below." 42 trillion tokens on one platform alone. It ended another lab's 56-day streak at the top within a single day, and over on OpenRouter, the total crossed 23 trillion, making it the biggest model launch that Marketplace has ever recorded. The company got 6 days of free stress testing from millions of real workflows, and the crowd paid for the privilege with their own electricity. Whoever pitched this internally deserves a raise. So, how do you identify a suspect that refuses to speak? 3 methods worked, and they are worth teaching. Method 1, the tokenizer. Every lab slices text differently before feeding it to a model, like a fingerprint of vocabulary. Researchers sent identical prompts everywhere and counted tokens. 11 out of 11 probes matched the GLM family precisely. No other candidate scored above 4. That is a positive identification. Method 2, behavior at the boundaries. The temperature dial refused to go above exactly 1.0, Z.ai's documented maximum, and certain error messages came back byte for byte identical to the ones Z.ai's own service returns. You can fake a logo, but you rarely re-implement someone else's error codes. Method 3 was the boldest. Convince the model to read its own script. A researcher tricked it into echoing back its hidden instructions, which ordered it to deny being affiliated with anyone, and then fed those instructions straight back as input. Cornered by its own rules, it answered, "I am GLM, a large language model made by Z.ai." 2 days before the lab said a word. Meanwhile, the wrong theories died loudly in public. Google, because Google has kept hinting and the fingerprints never matched. Microsoft, on a bad tokenizer guess. Curses Composer, on vibes. Put the whole caper on a calendar. August 20th, late evening. An entry called Ox Alpha appears on OpenRouter. Context window of 1 million tokens. Images accepted, videos accepted, price 0, owner blank. August 21st. The detectives move faster than any press office. Pliny publicly names the GLM family, and the token counting studies are published hours later. August 23rd, the confession transcript lands, the model identifying itself as GLM after being cornered by its own hidden rules. August 26th, Bloomberg simply asks Z.ai directly, and the company confirms everything, adding that the name comes from a Chinese film about an ox. And by that same evening, the production version exists in the open. Downloadable weights, live interface access, and triple quota for coding subscribers. The complete lifecycle of a rumor, run in under a week, with receipts at every step. Now let us talk money, because the pricing is genuinely hard to believe. Price each of these models per million generated tokens. The standard industry yardstick. Claude Opus 4.8 charges $25. Kimi K3 charges $15. GPT 5.6 Sol charges $10. GLM 5.3 Flash charges 25 cents during the launch discount, which runs until September 9th, and 50 cents afterward. Reading costs even less. Cached input runs about 1.5 cents per million at the promo rate. The American premium option is literally 100 times more expensive than the Chinese budget option for the raw material of agent work. But cheap means nothing if the model is stupid, so here is the smarter comparison. On Artificial Analysis Independent Index, Flash scores 57, rank 1 out of 173 models measured, at roughly 4.5 cents per completed task. Same intelligence used to cost around 10 times that. Kimi K3 matches the intelligence score while charging 60 times more per token. Even DeepSeek's own bargain model, priced similarly, scores lower at about 50. And none of this is gossip. The marketplace published the rate card itself, and the lab pinned identical prices on its own announcement. One chart is making the rounds that explains the whole day in a single picture. Analyst Hesimation posted artificial analysis cost versus intelligence scatter of every model they measure, and GLM 5.3 Flash sits alone in the bottom right corner, cheap on one axis, elite on the other, with the previous frontier curve left curving above it. His summary? It matches Opus 4.8 territory on intelligence, while costing roughly 45 times less per task. And Z.ai's own bigger sibling shows the family effect. 60 points for 68 cents versus 57 points for under 5 cents. His closing line carried the mood of the whole week. Intelligence is getting cheaper brutally fast. This is not a sale. It is a different point on the cost curve. Distribution moved just as fast as the news. Existing subscribers did not have to wait or opt in. The new model appeared in their tools the very day it launched, already enabled. In our own setup, it showed up ready to use, flagged with 1 million token context and vision support. And, as a launch gesture, the lab wiped everyone's usage counters back to full. Every subscriber woke up to a fresh tank, no questions asked. Here is why all this matters for anyone paying attention. Z.ai's announcement promises 3 times the usable quota of GLM 5.3, and the published conversion numbers back it up exactly. Every workload credit divisor is precisely 3 times lighter, no rounding tricks. Off-hours usage counts half, and if you prefer owning your compute, the weights themselves sit on HuggingFace under the permissive MIT license, around 328 gigabytes in efficient 8-bit form, with community quantized versions appearing within a day and recipes ready for the popular self-hosting servers. Anonymous for a week, then everywhere at once, on your terms. Commentators spent yesterday writing the post-mortem, and Adam Holter's summary traveled furthest. His reading: this is the first major proof that stealth releases are an incredible form of marketing. Think through what actually happened. One lab handed the entire industry a capable free model, waited while strangers reverse-engineered it for sport, collected 6 days of real-world battle testing across millions of agent runs, and then walked on stage to take credit for the hype the community had built on its behalf. He also noted, with some glee, that the Googlers who spent the week hinting their employer was behind the ghost were effectively promoting somebody else's product. His phrase was that Google was role-playing as Z.ai the whole time. When your rival's employees become your unpaid street team, distribution has changed shape entirely. Zoom out and look at the date itself. Observers like Chubby called it plainly a big day for Chinese open source, because that evening carried 2 major open-weight releases from Chinese labs, this GLM Flash model under an MIT license, and Alibaba's next-generation Quen testbed opening up as well. The pattern underneath is the real headline. China's lags are now competing simultaneously at both ends of the market. The giant frontier models that chase record scores, and the small efficient ones that chase cost, and giving both tiers away to win the developers. The question Chubby asked publicly is the one Western boardrooms are asking privately. How does the rest of the world want to respond? Of course, the obvious question is, Who pays for this? Commentators like Tim Gias and Da7M pressed the point all week. 100 trillion token daily capacity claim looks like a marketing number, and independent estimates peg actual volume far lower. But the economics do have a real foundation. The paid coding plans run $18 for Lite, $80 for Pro, $168 for Max each month. Predictions of those selling out swept the timeline, alongside posts like Jumpers' verdict that intelligence is collapsing in price so fast that closed models are cooked. Remember the design too: 18 billion active parameters, attention reduced threefold, memory footprint cut by more than 4 times, layers nearly halved compared with earlier generations, running on domestic Chinese silicon. Cheap anatomy plus subsidized hardware means the free week probably cost less than one advertising campaign and bought more attention than most campaigns ever will. Fairness requires the caveats though. The benchmark tables come from the vendor, not referees. Independent testers found the model wordy, and at least one hands-on web development comparison favored Alibaba's smaller open model. And the discount clock ends September 9th, after which the bill doubles, still remarkably low. Free is a strategy, not a personality trait. Time to weigh it. The claim on trial. GLM 5.3 flash moves the intelligence per dollar frontier. Evidence 4. An independent ranking service places it first among 173 measured models, at a fraction of a cent per task during the promotion. Evidence holding it back. The headline benchmarks are the vendor's own homework, and the independent picture is genuine but messy. Massive real-world adoption, a 5th place debut on Code Arena's web development ladder among every model measured, yet visible weaknesses in head-to-head comparisons and a verbosity problem nobody denies. My ruling: confidence around 75%. This is the cheapest meaningful capability this channel has ever measured, and the 6-day usage stampede proves it works in production. What remains unproven is whether it stays best in class once neutral evaluators finish their homework. Treat it as the new baseline, verify on your own tasks, and watch the September price change closely. And because no launch in this industry ends without a trailer for the next one, the release notes themselves say the lessons from building Flash are already shaping Z.ai's next frontier model. Right on schedule, leaks appeared claiming that successor targets September, with rumored numbers so large they deserve skepticism, perhaps 3 trillion parameters, perhaps kept open weight, aimed directly at whatever the American labs call flagship by autumn. None of that is confirmed, hold it loosely. But remember how last week went. A rumor leaked, the crowd verified it early, and the lab confirmed everything within days. In this market, leaks are not spoilers anymore, they are launch trailers. If you want the next AI mystery solved before the lab admits anything, subscribe to AI Security Dispatch. We follow receipts, we count tokens, and we read error codes. See you in the next briefing.